Hi everyone, this is Vandita again, and I want to welcome all of you in this series, which is 10 years of Varnal Films with 10 wonderful stories. Today I have one of this amazing person that I've known for almost 10 years now. We met when I just started Varnal Films. Um, Thank you, Sonal, for accepting this invitation to talk to us. So Sonal and I have been, I think it's more than Protsahan and Varna, it has been Sonal and Varnita relationship. And I will not introduce her. Sonal, please tell everyone what you do, who you are. It's tough to kind of put it in one conversation, but try.
I think the day I can learn to say that in one or two sentences. I think sentences. I think I would have kind of कुछ एक जंग जीत लूंगी ऐसा सा लगेगा. But I think who I am तो मुझे नहीं पता है. Varnita, honestly, I can't define that. But I run an organization for little girls, and we teach them how education is important, standing up on your own 2 feet is important, self-love is important. So that's what we do at Protsahan. And other than that, I think there's a lot of mirroring that you and I do with each other. There's a lot of mirror images that we reflect of each other, jo shayad maybe we can talk about in the conversation today.
Sure. Um, Sonal, why Protsahan? Like, why this word Protsahan came in? I was extremely fascinated when I heard this, so why Protsahan?
I still very, very clearly remember, Varni, that when I started, a lot of people said, what would you call this center or the school that, the first thing that we started? And it's so funny that somebody came up from the community and they said, would you call it Sonal Kapoor School? And I still laugh at it so much. Because this was the first family, who kind of became also the backbone in the community to kind of run the school. And I was like, why should I call it Sonal Kapoor School? Of all things, or
Yeah, it sounds
basically
like a film
anything.
school.
Yeah, or anything with my name. I never felt, even today, I think I find it most boring or most awkward to attend anything, like an award function or something that is, awarding the name. Because I think usse zyada superficial kuch hai nahi. So, and when I started Protsahan, I didn't know what am I going to do with this, this feeling, this emotion, and I didn't know whether it's going to be for education, whether it's going to be कि हम बच्चों को 12वीं पास कराएंगे, whether it will be that जो बच्चियां बहुत ज़्यादा violence का या किसी भी बहुत adverse circumstance का शिकार हैं, उनके साथ कुछ कला से करेंगे, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता था. All I knew was we would encourage them to do something that they want to do. And I was like, okay, encouragement तो रख नहीं सकती अब यहाँ पे, the community would not understand what encouragement means. So we're like, okay, encouragement ka basic Hindi protsahan, and that's the only thing we wanted to give the girls, so that they do. If she wants to become a dancer, she goes to become a dancer. If she wants to be a painter, if she doesn't want to do anything, just be a modern, like a mediocre student, she's allowed to be that mediocre student. And that's just that safe space that we would give the girl. That's all. No agendas, no nothing. Abhi, when you make a business plan, when you make a funding plan or a pitch presentation, you have to add that, yes, this is what we have done. And it kind of makes me, like, oh, we have actually been able to do this as well. Because the story has been so organic that it's never, we've never thought about, of course, now after 10 years, we make a vision or a plan that, every 3 years, this is what we want to do with the girls, this is where they should be. But first 5 years, we were just doing what we wanted to do, so that's it.
Amazing. Um, one thing I still remember people like 24, 25 when we met. And
Yeah, both.
yeah, and so I still remember coming to that small room in one of those small houses, and there were these, I think, 7, 8 girls who were just like their eyes were like lit, and for me, that was the moment when I was like, I knew that this is a place where I'm going to be part of. What was that moment for you? What was the first spark when the Protsahan actually happened?
I think it's very funny that you say this, Varni, because a couple of very, very close, dear friends, again, people who came because of Protsahan but ended up being like my people, my tribe, and they have said exactly the same sentence that you just said, that Protsahan mein bachchiyon ki aankhein always shine, and I never realized it until so many people came back and said that, came back and said that. But I think शुरू के कुछ पल were always about a lot of multitasking. I think also because this was something that I loved so much. It never seemed like work. And again, not knowing that, I also ended up burning myself out. There came a time in, I think, the first 8th or the 9th year when I felt exhausted, because you're doing that that thing that you're doing with so much love. You don't feel like it's work. You don't have a mental switch when to okay, switch off for the day, when to go hit the bed, go sleep. You're constantly at it. But one day your body turns 32, or 30, and you're not the 24-year-old anymore. And I think shuru mein, so there's also been this transition, but that eyes litting up moment, I think I've seen that in the girls way too often now, especially after, when my dear people have told me that there is something about that space that gives the girls a lot of safety, a lot of, that sense of belonging, that यहाँ मुझे कोई समझेगा और प्यार करेगा, यहाँ मुझे कोई इसलिए जज नहीं करेगा क्योंकि मेरे साथ कुछ हुआ था आज से 4 साल पहले, यहाँ मुझे कोई ये सोच के जज नहीं करेगा क्योंकि मेरी स्किन काली है, या मेरी स्किन गोरी है, या मेरी चमड़ी का कुछ रंग या ढांचा एक जैसा, यहाँ पे इसके बियॉन्ड होगा. और मैंने in with the girls, I have also learned somewhere, I have grown, as a person. I was very like there was, I think that's another podcast for another day, but yeah, but from that moment to this, I
When
think
you say, I was thinking we should also like do one session where we get all the girls also.
Yes, they would love to be,
right? Like, yeah.
I
think they will be able to explain Protsahan like nobody else can do it.
Yeah, I know that. Yes.
Sonal, what was Sonal Kapoor before Protsahan? What were you doing? What was your background? What did you study?
I was a hardcore sciences student. Microbiology, bacteria, fungi, metabolism, unka microscope ke andar padhna. And I think there came a time in my life, immediately after graduation and a couple of internships later, that I realized कि पूरी जिंदगी में माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर बैठ के बैक्टीरिया का मेटाबॉलिज्म स्टडी नहीं कर सकते. And I think that was also the time when I loved sciences, I loved biology, I loved, and even when Protsahan started, for that matter, the job that I was doing, like a day job that I had, I loved that job, but then there comes something that, that this is it. A lot of people also feel that, oh, is Protsahan your calling? I said, no, Protsahan is not my final calling in life. I might end up doing something when I'm 60. I don't know if I'll, get to live that long. Or I might just travel if, the pandemic stops happening. But I think at that time, I was just a hardcore Delhi University ki, science ki, ladki, or, did my MBA after that. But abhi wo sab karke lagta hai that MBA didn't change anything about me. It did help me. I think now when I think about it, it helped me understand people more. And as you said, people are complicated. And ghar se pehli baar, I stayed away in Pune for 2 years. So I really understood how, what complicated emotions in human beings can be. And then immediately after that, I came back. I was never the person who would sit for my placement ka interview or job because, hey, mujhe aaj 15 lakh ka ya 25 lakh ka package milega. I have never been like that. And I'm very happy. Even when the placement process was happening in the college, that was, I think, 2009, जब recession hit हुआ था पूरे globe पे, and everybody was like, एक job मिल जाए, one job, and because that was a crazy time for everybody. But I just left the placement process and I came back home because I was very sure that I would find something that I love. I don't want to sit in a process in a GDPI where I have to put down somebody to make myself shine. I think I found that whole I still share that with some of my MBA friends and they laugh about it. But I think I never felt that I belonged in a place where I have to put somebody down or dim their shine to make myself shine. I thought that was very petty. And I came back here. I did something with mutual funds and then finance industry. Loved it till the time it lasted. But then I also realized that mutual funds and everything was, or insurance was all about, किसी को एक policy चिपकानी है to make my, incentive for the month. And again, that was something that I wouldn't have wanted to do till 60. Then I quit that job. I think I was there for about few months, or maybe maybe 3-4 months, and I left that place, and then I entered hardcore into advertising comms.
So by the way, I remember this conversation also when you said that, Protsahan might not be my calling. I don't know how long I'm doing this. I can just do whatever tomorrow.
Yeah.
And what made you stick?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know.
So,
I think,
there's one thing very interesting I have to tell you, Sonal. When I had this conversation with you, I was just starting Vernon Films, right? And I also had this, that I don't know if because I used to just change my career like this, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And and then I, in my head, and it's very funny because I just realized in my head, I said, okay, let's see in 10 years where we are. And it's been 10 years. Here we are.
Yeah.
You're with Protsahan, I am with Vernon Films. Give me a high five.
I don't know what made me stick. I think I really don't have an answer for that. But I think sometimes it's like saying that, it's a parent or a friend or something that nourishes you.
Mm.
And if you go away from that source, you stop getting nourished. So a lot of people, tell me, "Arey, tum protsahan mein, you do this, you do that. Tumhe raat ko neend bahut achhi aati hogi." And I really don't understand that logic, because people feel that, some sort of running an NGO or running a school or doing something for the community is always about putting yourself last, is always about being the self-sacrificial person that you have to be. If I am enjoying something so much, if my heart is, loving something so much, I think it's then selfish enough for me to be doing it, right? Or it's I may be stuck to it still because I enjoy my work, if at all I can dare to call it work, so much कि मुझे नहीं लगता है. So I do a lot of consulting, sometimes a lot of advisory roles once in a while that come up, but there's nothing that makes me as feel who I am as much as Protsahan does. So I don't know. Maybe that's going to be. So let's see where we are in the next 10 years from here.
Let's meet. I mean, we'll meet before that also, but we should do this after 10 years also. I'm putting like a calendar somewhere. I have to tell people how, everybody knows that, Sonal and I are friends, and really how she became my client. I hate to use the word client, but that's how it is. Like how Vernon Films and Protsahan became like partners. And there was a very interesting thing happened. I think we were just like, we were struggling to kind of understand. I think Sonal was putting all her salary back in Protsahan. We used to just ask her friends to kind of put in whatever money, and everybody was like our age, and everybody was earning very limited and whatever. And it was amazing, right? I remember Rahul, Dheeraj, all these people. They were all like same age, and it was amazing, right? It was like some kind of energy you used to have. And once some organization, some I think group of young people who said that, "Acha, listen, we are planning to do this party, and we will also put Protsahan's presentation if you have, and we can do fundraise. You can come and do your fundraiser." And it was like some young, I don't know if you remember also. And Sonal called me at around 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the afternoon. She said, do you think that you have some photographs or something of Protsahan? I said, yeah. And I had a like small, point to shoot camera. So I clicked pictures when we went. I had some pictures on phone. And that was not the time when we had like high resolution phones and stuff. I had like really tiny, very bad pixelated pictures I had, of Protsahan, of the place. And I said, okay, yeah, I have. Why do you need it? And she said, at 5 o'clock I don't remember. I think it was in Saket or somewhere in South Delhi. Just in some club, people are doing this get together, and they said if you want to do fundraiser, you can do it, but I don't know what to present. Can you do a film? And I was like, you mean like in 3 hours? And and then we just kind of put in everything together on phone. We were just doing script. I sent something to her and she sent, and then we came up with this 1 minute video, how you can help, and half of the pictures were like blurred, but it was just such a powerful visual. And that was a very interesting point for me also as a filmmaker, because I was also just starting my film company, and I always had this thing because I learned films with working with very high-end filmmakers and stuff. I always think that having a good camera or a very powerful lighting and everything is everything. But that 1 minute video, and I'm going to share the link of that video, somehow is the most powerful video I've ever done. It's one of the most powerful video, because I think the kind of association I felt with all those pictures, because the content was so rich, every picture had a story, because it was just so real. I didn't have to do anything, because when I was clicking those pictures, I was just trying to capture whatever I saw, and so that's how we did the first video. It was like in 3 hours, and I absolutely love that video. It's one of those films which is going to stay with me always, and we learned and we grew from there, and we showed that film in that so there were like some 10-12 people in that party, and everybody contributed. I still remember. And that was actually like a formal first fundraiser, like where other people came in and they didn't know what Protsahan is, they gave in money. It was amazing. And do you remember the award function? The first award function happened. Do you remember that?
I think that was maybe the 4th or the 5th film that we had with you way back in 2012 or 13 maybe. We remember that was our first big high stake kind of a function or a award thing. Much more than the award, it was really the money that we needed to run the organization, so we were applying for it, to be honest. And it was some United Nations Women Project Inspire grant. And we had applied, so there were 590 organizations. I so clearly remember. We were one of those 590 who had applied. And so the first round of the entire process was that you have to film a video, a very simply done, congregation of the images and, pictures of what you do, and send it at the UN Women Singapore address or whatever. And that was my, every time I've called you, it's always been like, hey, we are in a mess, we need to we need to kind of come rescue us. And I think that was when you created a video, or a film rather, I would call that, like really a film, which is still there on our YouTube. Right. And it still is called, I think I had like really long hair that time, so people still find it difficult for us, for them to kind of distinguish me from then to now. But that was the time you created that film in, I think, 3 days. We submitted. We were just 4 or 5 days before the closing date. We got to know of, that there was some grant available, and there was this huge competition. So we're like, we don't even know whether we're going to clear it. But we, I think we really had the faith. You came and rescued us. Within 3 days, you produced a film. And I think it was just very, very basic budget. It was nothing fancy. It was just honesty.
I remember we didn't have budget for light also.
No lights, no extra music.
And we said, okay, fine, let's just shoot it.
Yeah. And I think, and when we, kind of submitted it, so out of the first 590 entries, we cleared the first round, which was the toughest, I think. And I think they kind of selected 30 or 40 the second round semi-finalists or whatever from across the globe, and Protsahan made it. And of course, then there was this, looking at our balance sheets and looking at how transparent we are, and et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, we were flown down to Singapore at INSEAD, where we were supposed to give our pitches. And everybody spoke about that film in the MasterCard United Nations Women Award Committee. And they said, your film moved us to tears. And I cannot forget that when that panel spoke about it. I think a lot of times, when we realize, Varnita, that, like you said, like in the pandemic, we feel that, hey, where is our interdependence gone? We thought we were always like independent, but we are all guiding each other home. Before we know it, before we realize it, कहीं ना कहीं सबने एक दूसरे के हाथ पकड़ के एक छोटा सा रास्ता पार कराना है. And I think a lot of, I think God, if at all, God or universe or whatever, however it is to be defined, at Protsahan, I have been blessed with, every time I have needed, that kind of an extra light to kind of, take us a little forward. The universe has sent us people like you, Varnita. And I think in this entire journey of 10 years, I can literally handpick 6 or 7 people, most of them women, if I'm not wrong. It's you, it's been Monica, it's been Vasanti, it's been people like Prerna. It's been some, fabulous people. I might be forgetting or not like getting names right away, but there have been people who've just come in, done their bit. Shruti at times, and they've done stuff. You remember Shruti, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they've just kind of melted, and they've come back again, and then they've melted. So I think it's the light that the universe has kept sending our way.
That's amazing. And so when you were saying this, I was like just kind of getting all these goosebumps. And I had to tell everybody, Sonal is sounding very excited about this UN, this thing, because that's like big. And, and that's what I love about you, Sonal, that it's very clear that, because you needed the money, like, right? And
I had to pay my teachers. I had no money for the next, so I had money only until the next 3 months of paying the rent and all of that. And when we were applying for this 25,000 USD dollar grant, we were like, it was unreal. And I think when we finally won it, it was just unreal.
So I still remember once, I think it was like 2 years in Protsahan or something, and then this is I think for me, I was like, this woman is totally crazy. So there was some award which was which they said that they're going to give it to Protsahan, and some minister, I think Praful Patel or somebody was giving out this
some really big cabinet minister.
And Sonal was like, listen, I can't go for this, because I have to go and, be at an exhibition in some corporate. She was standing in a stall selling diyas and, greeting cards made by these kids and slum women. And all of us were like, okay. And then I went with, who was the guy? I forgot his name. So I went and represented.
Huh? You went with Gaurav.
Gaurav, right? So I still have that picture of receiving that award, on behalf
and
of.
And that still is in our, the main center. It's still like it's like a very when you enter, you will see that picture. You were in a pretty white sari with a blue border.
That was actually one of those. That was actually one of those first formal awards Protsahan received. So Miss Sonal Kapoor was busy selling diyas, and we went and received that award. So we all were like,
and I remember because a lot of people, because it was some very big cabinet minister who was giving us that thing. But I think I sent my best person, there to receive it. And Varni, it always has felt like, zindagi mein kuch 4-5 log hote hain, that is if we are lucky. We find our home in them, like they become, that's what I say, mirroring. There have been times when I don't even remember, we've had disagreements, but we have always come back at the same table to have the chai. And I think even when we were 26, it's never been bitter. It's never been, oh my God. It's always been, there's a disagreement maybe after 2 days, And I think that's what I love about us. I absolutely adore that.
Oh. So, tell me about girls. How are they doing? I still remember, these girls were like, they were like babies.
They have now all cleared 11th and 12th, and some of them have kind of, they are in graduation. Some of them are doing like a course from IGNOU, and is a computer assistant at an art studio, and they're earning more than the brother and the father of the family combined. Her salary is more at the end of the day, so people in the family listen to her. So when she doesn't want to get married at 21, people respect her decision. So I think a lot of growth in the sense that a lot of times when people ask me, Varni, about what is the scale of the organization, what are the sustainability aspects, what are the, and I always, you perhaps one of those very few people who really ask that, hey, tell me about the girls, how are they? A lot of times I hear, which is again not right or wrong or bad or good, but it's a perspective. And I think a lot of times in the conversation of scale, of course scale is important. Of course, if today we are working with, let's say, 600 girls, tomorrow we should try and aim at reaching out to 800. But that definition, or that entire conversation about scale should not take away the empathy and the depth of the work. The scale can be like, from 1 to 10 on the number line, or it can be just like 5 but deep, in their lives. And I see those girls, it's funny that sometimes when I'm like completely engrossed in something, they'll just come and like, don't take life so seriously, Sonal ma'am. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe a reminder. So yeah, it all comes back, I think.
Yeah, so this is very interesting what you just said about the scale, and I was just thinking, how do you even measure it? Like, uh,
Mm.
like for example, this one girl who's earning more than the brother and this thing, how do you measure? Like, do you call it like one girl, or do you call it one family? Do you call it one community? Because the impact is, it's a ripple effect, right? The whole family is changed. The brother is respecting the girl, thinking that, oh, I cannot take her for granted. He'll probably give the same respect to the wife, or the
Mm.
daughter tomorrow when they have, so I'm just thinking, it's so tough to because I'm able to see this in 10 years,
Mm.
so for it's not just about teaching them one alphabet, or one
Yeah.
sentence in English, but it's the impact is is much larger. It's tough.
I think there is no there are a lot of scales. There are a lot of metrics available. You do one basic Google search, you will find all of those Excel sheets and pivot tables who will tell you that how this is how you can measure it. But you tell me, with hand on your heart, how many of us really know if we can really measure the impact education has had on our own lives? I still find people who are struggling with things day in and day out. They might have PhDs, so it's not really about the the length of education that somebody has, but also the fact that how much dignity that you gave that childhood. If I don't say that child, but उसके बचपने को आपने कितना dignity और प्यार दिया, कितना सराहा, that she has come to a level where she is good enough for herself. She will take care of her family, she will take care of the existing family and the one that she builds 10 years or 5 years from now. And she is kind of a champ. So we can now call them girl champions, right, in the community. And if we've created, like, let's say 100 champions a year, I think it's a task well done, because then it is on them to take the baton forward, and then they end up impacting so many more lives. And somebody's into theater, somebody's into filmmaking, somebody's doing photography, somebody's just into doing her own computer programming. So things that I would have never imagined, or things that Protsahan has never taught them, but one workshop where she found her soul, and then she was pushed to kind of take that navigate her life towards that end. And I think it's in the end, it's all about how much we love the other. In the end, it's all about how much we believe in the other, and especially as a kid or as a girl or as a little boy also, right? Like, as a child, how much you tell the child, I believe you, I love you, you are amazing, you're enough in your own self, and then see where that kid goes. It's never been about measurement for Protsahan. Of course, we now do the monitoring and evaluation and all of those things, But heart in heart, I know the day M&E report makes more sense. If there ever comes a day when a M&E report, makes more sense to my own validation of, the work that Protsahan stands for, I think that will be a failure. It has to be the other way around.
Amazing. I was just looking at you and I was like, oh, I was thinking about the 25-year-old Protsahan, Sonal. You sound exactly the same. Just a little,
What?
just a little wiser. But you have been very sure about this. I think that something didn't change at all, and I am able to compare because it's been 10 years. I've seen you, right? Like, and you have been very sure about this one thing, that it's never going to be about numbers. I mean, numbers will be important eventually. You want it to impact more people, obviously.
And that's organic. That's organic. That
Yeah.
will happen. That's something, Varni, I believe that if what you're doing stands the test of time, one little anecdote or one little story, that will become a statistic. That will become a huge number. And if that journey has been honest and true and deep, that entire statistic that you've built, you pick up any one, will be an anecdote that will shine. It has to be two ways. It cannot be like, hey, this is only, some 50 girls we're working with and just 50 and then they're awesome. But you know what? We cannot produce like 1,000 girls. Of course we can, because we produced the first 50, right? So it's both, it's two ways.
That's right. So we started, having some of these conversations. I remember when we were doing together, when we were I was also like very frequent to Protsahan. About these kids going to the normal school, and and then I still remember the first girl when she got admission in the government school close to the center. So what has been the progress? How accepting private schools have been, like apart from just the government schools, and how accepting they have been to these girls? Was there a struggle to get them in?
This entire this is a very unpopular opinion that I hold, but I think whenever we talk about the right to education, I think the RTE has been constructed in a way which promotes the privatization of education in the country. So जब आप कह रहे हो कि एक गरीब बच्चे को आप सरकारी स्कूल में मत डालो क्योंकि वो इतना ग्रेट नहीं है, the underlying reading between the lines is आप उस बच्चे को 25% कोटे में प्राइवेट स्कूल में डालो क्योंकि वो एजुकेशन बहुत अमेजिंग है. आपने सरकारी स्कूल को इतना अमेजिंग क्यों नहीं बनाया कि वो बच्चा वहां प्राइवेट स्कूल का बच्चा वहां पे कोटा ले. आपने हमेशा से प्राइवेटाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन मॉडल ही ऐसा है, सिस्टम ही ऐसा है कि आपने एजुकेशन हैज ऑलवेज वांटेड टू बी प्राइवेटाइज्ड for the people to kind of get profits or whatever it is, right? I think it should have been the other way around. But in terms of acceptance, it's a far cry, Varnita. It's a very far cry. Kyunki I hear my friends still say that, friends who have kids, etc. So there is this thing where in a private school or in an international school, IB schools जिनको आजकल बोलते हैं कि आप हर महीने एक बच्चे की माँ पूरी क्लास के लिए खाना बनाएगी once a month or something like that. So there is this thing where all the rich kids, their mothers make food for everybody else. So 25% वो जो कोटा वाला बच्चा है उसको RTE कोटा वाला उसको भी वो अच्छा खाना मिलेगा, right? पर जिस दिन उस गरीब बच्चे की माँ के खाना बनाने का समय आता है तो वो अमीर माँ अपने बच्चे के लिए टिफिन भेजती है, तो उसके घर का खाना मत खाइए, मुझे नहीं पता कितना सेफ है, right? And I think when we say acceptance, our systems should not be built on चाहे education हो, healthcare हो, child protection हो, जो भी हो. Our systems should not be built on the kindness of people or expecting, niceness of people. Our systems should be built as structured, rigid systems. They should not be like, based on कि अगर लोग अच्छे होंगे तो system चलेगा, क्योंकि वो नहीं चलेगा. I think that has to be done and dealt with a little more strictly, because acceptance is not there.
Yeah, so this is one thing which I always wondered, right? Like, and there have been news and reports about it, so I always used to wonder that, because I have always seen you very excited about the fact that, now girls are going to the mainstream, and that has been one
Mhm.
of the agendas that you wanted to mainstream them, right? And
Yes.
there is a fight right there, so.
Yeah, so there I think the fight would stay for the next 50 years as well. But one thing that's changed in our own mindset as Protsahan is that, we are not fighting like the big fight, because I have seen people fighting the big fight, and I'm not saying fighting against the justice because that is relevant. I'm saying fighting against things which in the next 100 years are not going to change, right? And we still do advocacy, we still focus on pointers that will change a certain part of the child protection scenario in the country, and all of that is kind of gradually changing. But whenever I'm thinking like what I said, कि अगर हम एक पूरा system build कर रहे हैं कि kindness पे based हो, वो चलना ही नहीं है, because a society will always be a bunch of good and the bad people. If we assume that one day the society will be 100% good people, no pedophiles, no robbers, no thieves, then it's a egalitarian dream or whatever you call it, but it's you can hope for it to be, to be true. बट उस बच्चे को एक्सेप्टेंस देने के लिए आपने उस बच्चे को इतना सशक्त एंड एम्पावर बनाना है कि वो खुद लड़े. आप उसके लिए कब तक लड़ोगे? You have to make her so amazing. So even if her mainstreaming means going to the closest sarkari school, it has to be in a way where she fights and says, I will finish my 12th standard. And that सरकारी स्कूल में भी डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज हैं. एक केंद्रीय विद्यालय है, एक एमसीडी स्कूल है, एक स्टेट गवर्न स्कूल्स हैं. सो आप क्लोजेस्ट मेन स्ट्रीमिंग जहाँ पे उस बच्चे को वो सब कुछ मिले जो एक अच्छी एजुकेशन कंप्राइज करता है. फिर तो ऐसे प्राइवेट स्कूल्स भी हैं जो सरकारी स्कूल के कंपैरिजन में भी कहीं खड़े नहीं होते हैं. सो गिविंग हर द बेस्ट एट वेयर शी ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ जहाँ वो रोल मिल जाए. अगर वो ऐसी जगह जा रही है जहाँ उसके शी इज बीइंग लुक्ड डाउन अपॉन, जहाँ उसके खाने के डब्बे में से कोई शेयर नहीं कर रहा है, I don't think that's the place for her to be, no matter what RTE says. I think she needs to be in a space where she's accepted.
So, what, when you were saying that, this, if we expecting, the society to just accept, like, abhi ye change ho gaya hai aur sab kuch aise accept kar do. Also, I think, and I love the point when you said that, let's make these girls or these children a little more empowered, prepare them for the world outside. Because somehow they are also living in their bubble. They think that life is like that. It's okay when people insult them, or it's okay because ghar pe that's what they see, that's what happens, right? What all are the kind of challenges that you feel you have when you talk to these children, especially girls? What are the 5 main obstacles that you feel, or the points that you're working with?
5 to pata nahi. Let me start. I think the first is when their own families become their biggest inhibitors to grow. अगर एक बच्ची को लगता है कि उसको जूडो कराटे सीखनी है और उसको कराटे क्लास के लिए जाना है, बट उसके पापा अग्री नहीं करते हैं, उसको लगता है कि if I go against my dad's wishes, I'll not be a good daughter. Leave alone judo karate. I think so. There was this case that we were dealing with last month at the height, in fact, during this height of the pandemic, where one of the the fathers of one of the girls, that was an incest case, right? He was sexually abusing the kid, 12-year-old. And जब उस बच्ची से पूछा गया, we were trying to investigate the whole matter, the kid says, पर मुझे अपने पापा से बहुत प्यार है. I think sometimes a lot of times, I would question myself, Varni, that, are we trying to save people who don't want to be rescued? And I think that's the savior's complex. Or when जब कोई गोरा अफ्रीका के जंगल में जाके सोचता है कि यहीं पे कुआं खुदना चाहिए और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि यहीं से पूरे अफ्रीका का उद्धार होगा. I think that mindset, again, it's not good or bad, good, right or wrong. It's a journey. It will come true. If you don't acknowledge it, I think that's being dishonest, because somewhere it will be like, I'm trying to save a kid from being, raped every night by her own father. She doesn't want to be rescued. What am I going to do? But I think that's a longer, deeper question, because the law of the country, POCSO, Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act, that also says mandatory reporting. कि अगर आपको ऐसा कुछ केस पता लगता है, आपने उसको मैंडेटरी रिपोर्ट कराना है. अगर आप रिपोर्ट नहीं कराओगे, तो you are as much liable to being being on the side of the crime, right? So in a space like that, in a scenario like that, a lot of times we question, is the society wrong? Legal, या उस बच्चे की खुद की परिवार, आपका role in this whole space. So I think one of the biggest challenges also is to look at the intersectionality of how these 4-5 things play for that child, and to get that understanding takes 10 years, to begin with. One of the other challenges I think is that there's a lot of funding crunch that I still see, because जब आप कह रहे हैं कि आपने 5 घंटे का कंप्यूटर प्रोग्राम कराया, या आप 5 घंटे का कंप्यूटर प्रोग्राम कराना चाहते हो 10,000 बच्चियों को या बच्चों को, आपको उसके लिए ऐसे फंडिंग मिल जाएगी. But the minute you say, you're trying to do complicated stuff, which is about rescue, which involves trafficking, which involves saving kids from literally like sexual abuse or incest, putting them into a school, making sure that she gets the best healthcare, making sure she comes to a point from that journey from 8 to 18 years. And then 18 she flies. 10 years is a long gestation time. This is the first time after 10 years I'm beginning to see those few butterflies flying. It's taken 10 years, right? But kis funder ke paas itna time hai to invest for 10 years, right? Like they asked me, I remember I was at one of these media houses for some pitch presentation for funding, and one of the MD asked me that, so Sonal madam, why don't we do this, why don't you change the program intervention in a way where that 8-year-old, gets to 8 or 10-year-old girl, she's sustainable enough to, earn the income for her family. And I'm just thinking, why should an 8-year-old be working? 8-year-old should just be playing or learning or sleeping or watching TV, right? Why do we expect that 8-year-old to have a sustainable intervention of the, to be a part of the program? Like, what sense does that make, right? So I think, but a lot of, it's not all that bleak also. We see a lot of Indian family foundations who are way more mature than some of the corporate donors. And also in CSRs, बहुत कम percentage है, but definite percentage है of people who are mature givers. I think they wait for for the results to show in. It's not as bad as it was in the beginning that 3 महीने में दिखाओ कि बच्चे का कितना progress हुआ है. So I think that's improved. That maturity has come in.
So what all are the things that you guys are doing with these children? Like I remember you were doing art and a lot of computers and stuff. So what all are the things that, because I think that's also something people might resonate with if there is, if there is somebody who runs a computer center, they might also kind of would like to collaborate. What all are the things that you're doing, and what all are the possibilities for people to collaborate when it comes to like sharing the skill or an art form?
So we still are all about art and technology with the girls, because we feel that art makes them grow, and technology is something, so art is for your heart and mind and heart and soul, and technology is what keeps you constantly creative, innovative, keeps makes you curious, keeps makes you keep asking questions. So we still are a combination of art and technology. Because of the pandemic now, the face-to-face interactions have really gone down. So we are very, very, so the centers are working at 40% capacity because of social distancing, etc. We are not calling a lot of volunteers at the centers. We've become very choosy in the kind of volunteers we kind of get to the center. A lot of technology piece is now being, just the fact कि उस बच्चे का, so problem अभी क्या हो रही है कि उस बच्चे का स्कूलिंग सिस्टम हमेशा के लिए छूटने वाला है या छूटा जा सकता है, वो इसलिए क्योंकि उसके पास स्मार्टफोन घर पे नहीं है जहाँ पे उसकी टीचर होमवर्क भेज रही है. सो अगर किसी के पास पुराने स्मार्टफोन्स हैं, DEF के साथ ये कैंपेन चला है जहाँ आप डिजिटल दान करके digitaldan.in करके वेबसाइट है, वहाँ पे यू कैन गिव योर ओल्ड स्मार्टफोन्स, यू कैन इवन गिव इट टू प्रोत्साहन, जहाँ पे वी कैन वर्क विद द गर्ल्स, ओल्ड लैपटॉप्स, old or but working condition. Please don't expect the organization to put in $3,000-5,000 to repair the old gadgets that you've given. We are very certain about saying that. Huh?
I said, don't send a chopping board.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right. So one is that definitely, even when you're donating clothes, please make sure that, a lot of dignity to the receiver is attached to what you're giving, whether it's phones or whatever it is for that matter. So that is number one. Two is how you can collaborate is if you, and I think a lot of times when people ask me this is that, just stay connected with us on social media. We don't expect you to kind of log into our website every 4 days, but if you've connected with us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever, we are everywhere. We make use of all of these free platforms. But if you would know every time an opportunity to collaborate comes up. If you have some really good books, story books to give away in good condition, not torn away, and if you think a child can use these books in simple English, Hindi, etc., please give them. Again, it's not just about protsahan. If you think you can give it to a center close to your place, please walk down and give it to them, because they can really make use of something. Third, donate, donate, donate. Because at the end of the day, जो teachers वहाँ पे हैं, जो social workers वहाँ पे हैं, जो staff वहाँ पे है, जो बच्चों के साथ 24 घंटे है, जो community में safe spaces create कर रहा है, उनके लिए वो 24 घंटे का काम है. अगर उसकी सैलरी 10, 15, 20, 25 हजार रुपए है, आप उसके लिए कंट्रीब्यूट करो, चाहे 500 रुपए, चाहे 1500 रुपए, चाहे 5000 रुपए. But it's important to contribute. I'm not saying volunteering is not important. It is, but then your volunteering has to be committed volunteering. Because no matter what you do for half an hour or 1 hour or 45 minutes, if you think you can, maybe do a fundraiser, we will, probably be able to pay the rent of that space, for the longer, for a more longer time. If you can collaboration, I think it's way too many things, right? Like if you're working at a media channel, make sure that a good word is put out. If you think that you have an art studio and you can give employment to 2 or 3 girls for a short internship project, please reach out to us. If you think you can sell their paintings at an art, or if you, it depends on the kind of spaces that you have at your disposal, and stay connected with us on social media, because then you will exactly know how you can pitch in and when. Let that idea come from them rather than me, because there are like literally 10,000 things that people can do. It's all about the intent and when they do it.
Talking to you always makes me feel so hopeful that there are people like you who are doing some work with so much a genuine intention. So please just keep doing that. Keep that Sonal, 24-year-old Sonal alive in you. I think that's something I always wish you. And I hope this conversation goes on more frequently, and let's catch up soon.
Absolutely.
After like an hour call, I'm saying let's catch up soon. This is amazing. So for all the people who are watching, we are going to get more stories. And I hope that soon we also do this, what I was suggesting in the beginning, that we should also like bring, some of these girls and, showcase their work. I would love to do this, on One Films platform. And whenever I get the door painted, I will also put up pictures and stuff, And Sonal, thank you so much once again for this time. I know like we did it all in a very short notice, and you have been amazing always. Thank you.
And you too. I think you've been one of those people in my life, Varnita, that, like I said, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, I probably say less stuff than what I feel, because I feel too much. One of the reasons that I feel too much is that Protsahan is there. I think you're one of those few people that ended up being the light at just those dark moments, and I can't take that away at all. And I can't take that away from some of those people that you made us. I remember I got in touch with Kiran Khalap, who's now a very, very dear mentor for me personally. Gopal Bhaiya. So I think a lot of those relationships from then have stayed. And it's not just the two, it's gone beyond. So I wish you all the luck and all the love for all the amazing stories that you have told and you will tell in your life from here on. And just a lot of love to you.
Bye.